all this? You know why it's not working now? Because you keep praying. Because you pray again and again and again, every day, every single morning!
Jeanine!
It's not working.
咁多錢揼到嗰啲聽聽，肯定聽聽。呢件事跟住出嚟多謝你集啦。
Missed Calls is about a girl who is stuck with her mother at home during the circuit breaker period because everyone is not allowed to leave their homes unless they are essential workers. Jeanine, our main character, is a JC1 student. She is currently going through home-based learning and her mother, Lisa, is working from home. So they both have always been on a very disconnected relationship, and this is the first time that they have to be stuck together in the same place. Jeanine's grandfather passed away over a month ago due to contracting the COVID-19 virus. She is filled with guilt and grief because she believes that she was the one that passed the virus to him. And so one day she realizes that she's able to contact him and communicate with him like days before he passed away. And so she thinks like, okay, maybe she can do something to alter the past and possibly bring him back. But what she doesn't realize is that when she was calling him, he already had the virus. So there was no way of bringing him back. All these things happened not because she needed to save him, but it was more of a closure for her and for her to move on and reconcile with her mother.
It is quite hard to light up a set because the house is very small. So most of the time lights had to be rigged from above with like auto pull like that. So for one of the scenes, it was a one take where they went through the whole house from the Ah Gong's bedroom to the living room and then back to Jeanine's bedroom. So it was definitely a challenge to shoot it all in one take. And the setup was about 2 hours. It was about maybe 1 or 2 lights a room. It's quite little, but it was really about fine-tuning the angle and position of the lights to make sure that really it was in the right position for the key moments.
The difficulty for that scene is that when we first heard of the news of the existence of this shot was the day before the first day of shoot. So we had absolutely no time to mock or prepare that. So we could only do that in between shoot days. Right after shoot, we stay in the house and then we practice again and again with the sound department and with the lighting department, like how to walk through the doors and how to properly walk without falling and walk with the correct framing.
So it was like a continuous like one take for scene 15. So like the blocking is like the entire house. So we had to set the entire house, like all the 3 rooms, Ah Gong's room, Jeanine's room, and the living room. Jeanine is decorating the room for him to come back. So that was a different like setup from anything else. Since like it was the entire fight scene, they're like trashing everything, placed everywhere. We had to take a lot of like continuity photos and we had to like follow exactly to like where it was placed.
For the sourcing of the location, we actually looked around for a very long time because due to COVID, not a lot of people were willing to like give up their houses for filming. So it's very difficult to find one like within our budget. Then when we finally found one, like we were like so set and like ready to really like art prep. Then the day before, the location person actually backed out. So at that day, we really like panicked and we had to like stress and look for another location within that same day. And luckily for us, we actually managed to find one location which actually suited our film quite well. That location, there's like lesser restrictions. They allow us to paint, to like put things on the wall, like, and the walls weren't like hollow, so we can actually like auto pull all that. It was all like super good for our shoot and we were actually very lucky to find it. It was like kind of like a blessing in disguise.
One thing about our film is that it's very unique because it's playing with the aspect of past and present. So a lot of the sound design, I think, will come in play when you're playing around with ambience. Like when you're in different settings or different scenes, let's say it's in the past and present, the sound is going to be different. Like one ambience compared to the other day is going to be very different. So I played around with the sound of birds, yeah, the sound of crickets and all. So one scene will have, but the other scene wouldn't have. Yeah, so that's how, in a way, I tried to differentiate both past and present. Yeah.
I think the editing pace for that last part is a bit more calm because that is the part where it's like right after the climax and everything just starts to slow down and like everything kind of made sense, and that's where peace is being made between Jeanine and her mom. So I think we just like put it together and make sure the moments kind of felt emotional because it comes right after Ah Gong's voicemail to Jeanine. So in that montage part is where Jeanine starts to like thank her Ah Gong for everything that he has done.
and she understood what he meant, and that actually her mum also cared, but she cared in a very different way compared to Ah Gong. It was very nice to edit that part because after the entire drama between them, everything is finally solved.
Because of COVID and the restriction, we're kind of limited to the number of people we can bring on set, and that kind of limits how fast we can go and really limits our efficiency.
When our lecturers gave us the prompt that all of us had to write a story related to the COVID-19 virus, me along with many other students were very bummed at first because we had so many other ideas that we wanted to do for FYP, but suddenly we all had to do about COVID. I recalled this one idea that I had a few years ago after my grandfather passed away. Basically what happened is that I suddenly went through my contacts one day because I think I was just clearing my contacts or something, and I chanced upon his name. So I was like, what if I call and he picks up? You know, it's just a fantasy. I was just like, if I call him and then maybe it could change something, but then again, it's just my imagination. So yeah, I just decided to change it to fit the COVID context and then try to make it so that, oh okay, it's this girl who tries to bring her grandfather back. I wanted to make it as universal as I can because grief is something that almost everyone goes through, unfortunately, and you never know when you're going to lose a loved one. So I really wanted anyone who watched it to just take some time to think about what was the last thing you did together. Yeah.
For the cast, we actually went through a lot of auditions, and also because of COVID restrictions, we had to go through a online audition instead of the usual physical, and it's way different because you can't really feel how they're emoting. Then sometimes there was a lag in the auditions, then you can't really see their entire their full-on emotions, so it wasn't as easy as compared to real life auditions. Then when circuit breaker kind of just eased down, we managed to have more real life auditions, physical auditions, to really see how they are, and we managed to finally pick the main 3 casts which really fit the story. Then their chemistry with each other was good when they finally audition with each other, and it really fits the film, and I'm really glad their chemistry really worked out very well in the film.
We had really good cast for this short film. They didn't give us any problems at all. They really were able to understand what I wanted to portray. We had a table read a couple of days before the actual shoot, so I was just explaining with them, going through the entire script, giving the character background, the history, and then also every single scene that they are in, I would also tell them oh, they are doing this. This is because of this. So I'll help them try to understand their characters' every single decision, and I would ask them for their own experience to try to combine their own flavor to it also, so that it's not too scripted. So it's something that they also naturally gave out. It doesn't have to be something that they had to force it out. So when it came to the day itself, the takes were actually very successful. They just went straight into the emotions that I wanted, and I was very happy about that. You couldn't tell at all, obviously, but for example, in the scene where Jeanine runs back into her room, right, and she tries to repeatedly make Ah Gong's phone work, the blocking was all over the place basically. The tech people didn't have much space to stand for lighting and the camera and the boom, so there was a lot of people involved because Effie, our assistant director, she also had to run in between the rooms to take the mic and then place it in another room. For that scene, because we really wanted to give our cast the freedom of space, we didn't want to restrict them because it was a scene that required them to really express themselves. So we basically just told them oh okay, this is the space that you can use, then you have to move here, and then you can use this space when you move back here. So we gave them a lot of space, and Effie was actually in Ah Gong's room, the green colour one. It's just that she was hiding all the way at the end. Our own tech people just had to try our best to make it work.
Alright.
Rolling?
Yeah.
Okay.